Hey, how are you? Cities in Europe with similar vibes. I've traveled around the world. I've traveled to around 40 countries, but actually 32 of those countries were in Europe. So I traveled the world, but really I mostly traveled Europe. Out of those eight other countries, four in South America, two in North America, and then also Australia and New Zealand. As of right now, I've never been to Asia. I don't know when you're going to watch this video, but as of now, I've never been to Asia. I've never been to Africa. So definitely Europe is my let's say continent of specialty. I've lived in three different countries in Europe. I lived in the UK, in England when I was a little kid. I lived in France for a bit, and I lived in Italy in like little cut off different times in a bunch of different cities. Yeah, Europe is amazing, and this video is absolutely just like subjective. Like there's no objective criteria or anything. It's just like cities that I think offer the same vibe as one another. When you're a traveler, when you're just going about, and that maybe if you've been to one of them and you really like it, you might just go to the other one and also like it. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's start. The first two cities that I think I really like are Prague and Budapest. I think back in the late 90s and early 2000s, Prague was kind of the new Paris because obviously the Iron Wall fell, and so people could go back into Eastern Europe, especially, and those countries started developing. And Prague is just like it's always been a beautiful city. It's very historic. It's very old. But as it opened itself up, it was much cheaper than, for example, Paris. So you could go to Prague and you could get the same romantic vibe in a city that never sleeps, with a good party, with good culture, with good architecture, but for a fraction of the price of like pretty much anywhere in Western Europe. So people started flooding Prague, and Budapest kind of was delayed maybe by 10, 15 years, to the point where if you go to Prague now, it's not really that affordable anymore. I mean, it's still cheaper than most of Western Europe, but it's not particularly affordable. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like amazing. And I feel like Budapest now is the new Prague in the sense of it's still cheaper. Obviously, you go Hungary has a pretty devalued currency. It's not that well economically as of now. And so people who maybe would like to go to Prague but want something cheaper, they can go to Budapest. And I think what both those cities offer is a 24-hour day where you do not sleep and you do not get bored, because you could wake up at 6 a.m., um, do 100 different things. There's the thermal baths in Budapest. There's Buda. There's Pest. There's boats along the river. There's the parliament. There's like a gazillion things to do during the day. Hungarian food is really good. Same for Prague. Prague is just like one magic street after the other. Really, you cross the bridge. I was there in winter and it was snowing. It was one of the most gorgeous views I've ever seen. You go to the castle. It's great. It's just like an amazing city. And both those cities, you're gonna wake up early. You're gonna have a gazillion things to do, and then you start at night and nightlife just never stops. It absolutely never stops. Gorgeous, very attractive people, obviously in my case, very attractive women. I thought in Prague in particular, like you just go to a random restaurant and the girls that are like serving you, they're just beautiful. They're just gorgeous. And in Budapest, I felt that as well, but I felt that more in Prague. So just two beautiful cities with beautiful people, with beautiful, beautiful architecture, with weather that honestly is not great, but not bad. Like if you go to Northern Europe, it's definitely more depressing. Prague, Budapest, they still have like they get like proper snow many times of the year. Not every year, but like many years they actually do get proper snow. They have like a four season kind of weather, so it's much more attractive than like if you go to Dublin or if you go to Tallinn, where it gets a bit too cold, you know. So they're just. I think they offer a bit of the same vibe. Obviously, they have a communist history, so you can go to, for example, in Budapest, you can go to uh, a museum. I forgot the name. It's a museum about like the tragedies of and genocide and all that happened in Hungary in World War II and also in the communist regime. So very interesting. Definitely similar vibe cities. The second pair of cities I think I should mention is Rome and Barcelona. I think Italy, there's Rome, there's Milan, and then in Spain there's Barcelona and Madrid. And I think Madrid is a bit more like Milan, and Rome is a bit more like Barcelona. It's a bit subjective in that way. Obviously, the capitals are flipped, so Rome is the capital and Madrid is the capital. Like Rome is closer to the ocean, Barcelona is pretty much in the ocean, in the sea, and so. They have fairly similar climates. I think the weather in Barcelona is slightly better, I would say. Nightlife in both cities is really good. In Barcelona, it's probably the best nightlife in all of Europe, so it is a bit unbeatable in that sense. But they both offer so much in terms of like architecture and history. Obviously, history, I think Rome is unbeatable. But they give the best of the Southern European vibe if you're looking for a big city with a gazillion things to do, with such good food, like Italian food. Obviously, everyone knows it, but you go to Barcelona and there's such good tapas restaurants. Obviously, in Barcelona, you're going to be going out at like 1 a.m., like to start off your night. You're going to be in the beach at 7 a.m. just watching the sunrise. So it's just an awesome experience. Rome also really really good experience, and I think they offer a bit of the same. If you go to one city and you like it, the probability you go to the other one and you also like it, it's absolutely huge. They give out great vibes, and I honestly just love them. Third pair of cities I want to compare are Ljubljana and Krakow. So Krakow is the second biggest city in Poland. Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia, and they both, first of all, they both have something with dragons. Like in Ljubljana, everywhere you go, there's like dragon blood, like it's a type of drink. There's like dragon statues. There's dragon like little thingies and themes that you can buy like at souvenir stores. And Krakow has like a huge uh, dragon that like breathes fire. At least they had it when I went there, and I think they have a lot of dragon in their mythology, which automatically kind of connects them in a way. Not that dragons are uncommon in Europe. I mean, Europe has had a lot of tales about dragons in a lot of places, but that's something I found interesting. They're both kind of hilly with like. I think Ljubljana has a sort of castle on top of the hill. Krakow also has sort of a castle on top of the hill, and you can go up. The one in Ljubljana, I think, is a bit more high up in comparison to the rest of the city. It also has a bit of a different vibe because there's mountains around it. Like Ljubljana is really beautiful. It's so cute, but the cuteness in Ljubljana and the cuteness in Krakow is kind of similar. If you go in Krakow to the city center where the churches are, it's also really nice. Obviously, Krakow is where Auschwitz and the whole thing with Schindler's factory kind of happened. So there's a lot more museums related to like history, the Holocaust, that kind of vibe. Ljubljana, it's more a little softer, I'd say. And Ljubljana, I would consider. I think it might be smaller than Krakow. I'm not sure, but I would consider it a bit of a quieter city, where it's more of a daytime kind of adventure and nature kind of adventure. Whereas Krakow does have very interesting lifetime nightlife. Lifetime. Anyway, a lot of Ukrainians they came over after the war. Well, after the war started, and so I went to a couple parties in Krakow where it was pretty much just like an Ukrainian party in Krakow. Uh, very very interesting city to party in. Interesting city to go to learn about history, to do like field trips, like to Auschwitz, for example. And somehow I think they offer that same Slavic, Eastern European, smaller, very cute, very well preserved. Krakow was not bombed during World War II, which is kind of rare in Poland, in Germany, and that kind of area. So it's still pretty well preserved. There's the walls in the city. Definitely two cities I would absolutely recommend. And if you like one, you probably like the other. Okay, two cities that kind of have a, let's call it, depressed, gloomy, postmodern vibe with like just a cool, hippie kind of vibe, at least to me, were Warsaw and Berlin. And I don't know if I'm going crazy. Maybe you guys tell me, like, they've got nothing to do with one another, and I might reconsider. But like, I think Berlin and Warsaw, first of all, they have more of a modern look. Berlin was bombed the shit out of in World War II, so it's like first of all, it's always I think been flat, and second, it doesn't have that many old buildings anymore because it was absolutely destroyed. Uh, Warsaw, there is like a few old things, but it definitely gives out more of a modern city vibe. I think they don't resonate as much with other European capitals that are known for being more well preserved, more cute. If you go to Bern, if you go to Vienna, if you go to Rome, if you go to Paris, if you go to, I don't know, Madrid, I think it's definitely a different vibe. And they give that cold winter, harsh mentality and like that postmodern party-ish, but not in a cute, we're in a beautiful city kind of way, but in a dark, we're gonna get fucked up kind of way, you know. So I think they give out a bit of those vibes. Obviously, every city everywhere can be lovely and cute and have like nice things and all that, but like I think it's the vibe that they give you. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's like my feeling. And I liked both cities. I think I preferred Warsaw. Very interesting. When I was in Warsaw, I was with like some with a Polish person that could like kind of guide me. Same in Berlin, I was with a German. So like I was guided through the cities in a way that was very enriching. So maybe that's why I connect both cities. But yeah, I think they're somehow similar in vibes as well. Another controversial take, I think Vienna and Paris are somehow similar as well. I know I said Prague was the new Paris back in the day, and now Budapest is the new Prague. And obviously, all those cities somehow connect. Vienna and Budapest have similar histories with the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Prague and Paris already explained. But I think with Vienna and Paris in particular, they're really good for museums. Like I don't think I think people forget that Vienna, like Paris, was obviously the capital of the French Empire and all that, and still the capital of France. But like Vienna was the capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and that was a big empire, and it was a long empire. And the Habsburgs were one of the most relevant, if not the most relevant family in Europe for centuries, and it shows because like Vienna, first of all, so well planned, so beautiful. The architecture is gorgeous. People say Vienna is boring. I don't find it boring at all. The metro is amazing. It's much better than the one in Paris because the one in Paris just stinks. And Paris is just a bit too big. It's a bit too blah, and even more tourists than Vienna. Obviously, I think France is the most visited country in the world, so it's hard to not be crowded with that. Yeah, with that scenario. But I think both cities they have the majestic capital of an empire kind of vibe. You know, I think both of them give it out very clearly. White marble buildings in the city center. Uh, I don't know the noob and the scene both pass. They cross the city. Um, yeah, lots of parks. I think parks in Vienna were a bit more interesting for me. Also, just museums. Like in Vienna, you could like there's a certain quarter there. I don't know exactly where you are, where it's just like you're walking and there's museum after museum. And obviously in Paris, there's a gazillion museums as well. I was in museums in Paris that I don't even know what they were. I don't know if they were important. Maybe they were. I obviously went to the Louvre and stuff, but also went to other museums, and I don't even know what they were. But I went, and it was really nice. So in a way, those cities kind of connect as well. Okay, and last pair, most controversial, Madrid and Brussels. Somehow, obviously, two European capitals, but somehow they connect. Like I know completely different vibes. Spain and Belgium are very different, but I think what got me the most that kind of connected the two cities in my head was the architecture. Like a little bit of a darker, not properly Gothic, kind of Gothic architecture. In Brussels, if you go to the middle, there's like the quarter, like with pretty much surrounded by like gold in the buildings. Uh, Madrid doesn't quite have that, I think, but like I still feel like, for example, the other day I saw a picture of Madrid and I was like, oh, that's Brussels, and then it was actually Madrid or something like that. Like, kind of flipped. Obviously, I've only been to each of the cities for a couple of days, so it's not as if I'm an expert in any of them. I definitely should come back, and um, I don't know what it is. I just don't know. Like, please comment if you're from Brussels, if you're from Madrid, if you've been to both and you somehow noticed the same thing. But I feel like they also kind of give the same vibe. I think I'm pretty sure Madrid is bigger than Brussels. Brussels is obviously not only the capital of Belgium but also the capital of Europe, so it gives a bit of a different bureaucratic vibe, I guess. And also, Brussels is definitely more multicultural than Madrid. Like there were a lot of immigrants in Brussels, like a lot. Which, not to say that there weren't in Madrid, but I could definitely say that there was less. But yeah, I think the architecture kind of stuck in my head, and also the hills in Madrid. Brussels isn't exactly hilly, but it's kind of hilly. So that might have been what connected the two cities. But yeah, that will be it. Those are the six pairs of cities with the same vibe in Europe. Really want to know what you guys think. If you guys have other pairs that you think are similar, let me know in the comments.